Imagine a machine so massive, so intimidating, and so unbelievably powerful that its presence alone could shake the balance of the world. A machine built when the world feared a new kind of war, a war that needed a guardian in the sky, an aircraft so big it could carry the weight of global peace. This is the story of the Convair B-36 Peacemaker, the bomber that never fired a shot in anger yet prevented conflict stronger than any weapon. Welcome to Wings of War, and today, we go back to the giant that ruled the skies without ever needing to fight, the real king of strategic dominance, the B-36 Peacemaker. Welcome to Wings of War, where legends are reborn and the forgotten giants of aviation rise again. If you're here, you're not just watching, you're stepping into the cockpit of history. Today's journey is special. Today's story is colossal. So take a deep breath, tighten your straps, and get ready to witness the bomber that carried the title no aircraft could ever match. The peacekeeper of the Cold War, the Convair B-36 Peacemaker. The birth of the B-36 began at a time when the world was on fire. World War II was raging, Europe was collapsing, and the United States military feared a future where long-range strategic bombers would be essential. The enemy could be across oceans, across continents, and the Air Force needed something that could reach anywhere on Earth without depending on foreign bases. It needed a bomber with unlimited reach, massive payload, and unshakable reliability. So engineers were given a simple but impossible order: build an aircraft that could fly over 10,000 kilometers, carry more bombs than any machine ever built, and survive in the harshest conditions imaginable. The result wasn't just an airplane. It was a flying continent. The B-36 measured over 230 feet in wingspan, longer than a Boeing 747, and had engines powerful enough to move a small naval ship. No bomber before or after looked anything like the Peacemaker. The engines were a marvel of engineering. 6 massive Pratt & Whitney radial engines mounted inside the wings, running pusher propellers, gave the B-36 its iconic look, props behind the wings, not in front. This design reduced drag and made the massive bomber more fuel-efficient at high altitudes. Later versions added 4 jet engines under the wings, giving the bomber a unique combination: 6 piston engines and 4 jet engines, making it the only aircraft in history to operate with both types simultaneously. 6 turning and 4 burning became the identity of a bomber that could fly over 7,000 miles without refueling, carrying 72,000 pounds of bombs deep into enemy territory at a time when no fighter could reach it. And when the world entered the nuclear age, the B-36 became America's long-range nuclear strike guardian. But what truly made the B-36 terrifying wasn't just size or speed, it was altitude. This aircraft could fly above 40,000 feet, far beyond the reach of anti-aircraft guns and most interceptors of the time. From that height, a B-36 could bomb targets anywhere with near impunity. And because of its enormous wings, it could stay in the air for more than 40 hours. Imagine flying an aircraft so big that crew members could walk inside its wings while in flight. Imagine a bomber so heavy that its landing gear had 24 tires because regular wheels would sink into runways. Imagine a machine so advanced for its time that even today, in 2025, aviation experts consider it one of the most ambitious aircraft ever built. This was not a bomber, this was a statement. The Cold War had begun, and the Soviet Union was racing to build its own nuclear arsenal. The United States needed a deterrent, something that could remind every enemy, every government, and every military commander that striking the US would guarantee destruction. The B-36 became that message. Its missions were mostly silent, mostly unseen, and always secret. Flying at extreme altitudes, loaded with nuclear weapons, protected by defensive turrets and massive range, the Peacemaker created a shield over America without ever being fired. That's why experts say the B-36 didn't just carry bombs. It carried peace. The crew who flew the B-36 were legends themselves. A typical mission carried more than 15 men: pilots, navigators, radar operators, gunners, engineers, radio experts. Long flights required endurance, and the B-36 was built like a moving house in the sky. It had a tunnel connecting front and rear compartments, beds for the crew, even a small kitchen. This wasn't luxury. It was survival. Long-range nuclear missions sometimes lasted over 40 hours non-stop. The men operating this giant had to stay awake, alert, and precise, because one mistake could mean disaster. Despite its bulk, the B-36 had advanced defensive systems. Multiple .50 caliber machine guns protected it from attackers. Radar-guided turrets added layers of safety. But truth be told, no enemy of its era could reliably intercept a B-36 at high altitude. Jet fighters were still in infancy. Surface-to-air missiles were barely being developed. So the bomber cruised above the world untouched. Its real power wasn't in fighting. Its power was in being unstoppable. The B-36 also played a crucial role in reconnaissance. Special versions carried giant cameras capable of photographing cities from 40,000 feet with incredible clarity. These reconnaissance flights provided vital intelligence for years. Even more extraordinary were the secret tests involving the NB-36H, a nuclear-powered bomber prototype. Yes, engineers actually installed a working nuclear reactor inside a B-36 to test shielding and safety. It never powered the aircraft, but the fact that it flew at all shows how far the Cold War pushed technology. But the B-36 era was limited. As technology advanced, new threats emerged. Jet interceptors became faster. Surface-to-air missiles became deadlier. And the B-52 Stratofortress arrived, a jet-powered bomber that could fly faster, lower, and further. After dominating for nearly a decade, the B-36 was retired in 1959. Not because it failed, but because aviation had moved into a new era. Still, even after retirement, the Peacemaker's legacy remained unmatched. What makes the B-36 special even today is the peaceful war it fought. It never dropped a bomb in combat. It never launched a nuclear strike. It never went into battle. Yet military historians widely believe its existence prevented war on a global scale. Enemies knew America had a bomber that could reach them anywhere, anytime, carrying weapons powerful enough to erase entire cities. That fear maintained balance. That balance maintained peace. The Peacemaker truly lived up to its name. Even now, more than 70 years later, aviation lovers admire the B-36 like a relic of a forgotten era. An era when size meant power, when altitude meant safety, when long-range bombers were the guardians of nations. You cannot look at a B-36 without feeling respect. Its massive wingspan, the roar of its engines, the sight of its giant bomb bays, everything about it was built for one purpose: to keep the world from falling apart. Only 4 B-36 aircraft survive today in museums. Standing under its wings in real life is like standing under a moving mountain. It is so large that photos never capture its true scale. You have to see it, touch it, feel the cold metal of its fuselage to understand what the engineers accomplished. The legacy of the Peacemaker lives on in modern strategic bombers. The B-52, the B-1B Lancer, the B-2 Spirit, and even the next generation B-21 Raider, all of them owe something to the B-36. It taught the world how important long-range capability is. It proved that nations need bombers that can outfly threats. It demonstrated that the sky isn't just a battlefield, it's a shield. A shield for freedom, a shield for deterrence, a shield for peace. And maybe that's why the Peacemaker remains one of the most iconic aircraft ever built. It was not built to fight. It was built to prevent fighting. It was a giant that cast a shadow so long, enemies hesitated to cross its line. It was the silent guardian of the Cold War, a massive machine whose engines whispered a message across the globe: don't start a war you cannot win. So today, as we look back at the Convair B-36 Peacemaker, we remember not just the engineering, not just the range, not just the bomb load, but the purpose. It kept the peace. It protected nations. It secured the future. It stood alone in the sky as the true king of strategic dominance. This is Wings of War, and this was the legend of the Convair B-36 Peacemaker, the bomber that ruled the world without firing a shot. If you're watching, you're not just seeing history, you're witnessing the machines that shaped humanity. Stay tuned for more legends, more giants, and more kings of the sky.